The discovery. The desolate landscape of Proxima B stretched out before Captain Sarah Chen as she peered through the view screen of her scout ship. The once thriving colony world now lay in ruins, a victim of the ongoing war between humanity and the Zarkan Empire. "Any signs of life, Martinez?" Sarah asked, her eyes scanning the horizon. Private Joey Martinez shook his head, his fingers dancing across the sensor controls. "Nothing yet, Cap." "Wait," he paused, frowning at his readouts. "I'm picking up a faint biosignature about 2 clicks north. It's not human." Sarah's hand instinctively moved to her sidearm. "Zarkan." "No, ma'am," Martinez replied. "It's not matching any known Zarkan patterns. Actually, it's not matching anything in our database." Curiosity piqued, Sarah made a decision. "Let's check it out. Huang, bring us in low and quiet." As the scout ship descended, the team got their first visual on the source of the biosignature. Amid the twisted metal and scorched earth lay a massive furry creature. Its body was easily twice the size of a tiger, with 6 powerful limbs and a long serpentine neck. But what caught Sarah's attention was the creature's obvious distress. It was clearly injured, its thick fur matted with a dark, viscous fluid that Sarah assumed was blood. "Is that a Zarkan warhound?" Corporal Ava Patel whispered, her voice a mix of awe and fear. Sarah had heard of these creatures, genetically engineered beasts bred by the Zarkan for combat. They were living weapons, known for their ferocity and unwavering loyalty to their masters. But this one seemed different. It was alone, abandoned. "If it is, it's been left behind," Sarah murmured. She made another quick decision. "We're going out there." Her team looked at her in shock. "Captain, with all due respect, that thing could tear us apart," Martinez protested. Sarah understood their fear, but something in her gut told her this was important. "It's injured and alone. We can't just leave it here to die. Besides, if we can save it, imagine what we could learn." Reluctantly, the team donned their exosuits and disembarked. As they approached the creature, Sarah could see the full extent of its injuries. A deep gash ran along its side, and one of its limbs was bent at an unnatural angle. The warhound's head snapped up as they approached, its eyes, a startling, intelligent amber, locking onto Sarah. She froze, her heart pounding. The creature let out a low, pained whine, and in that moment, Sarah saw past the fearsome exterior to the suffering being beneath. "Easy there, big guy," she said softly, taking a slow step forward. "We're here to help." The warhound's eyes never left her as she approached. When she was within arm's reach, she slowly extended her hand, palm up. The creature sniffed cautiously, then, to everyone's surprise, gently pressed its muzzle into her palm. "Martinez, get the medkit," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Plato, help me assess these injuries." As they worked to stabilize the warhound, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something monumental. This creature, bred for war by humanity's enemies, was trusting them. It went against everything they thought they knew about these beasts. Hours passed as they worked tirelessly to save the warhound. By the time they finished, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the devastated landscape. "What now, Captain?" Wang asked as they stood back, watching the sedated creature breathe steadily. Sarah knew the implications of what she was about to suggest, but she couldn't bring herself to abandon this being that had placed its trust in them. "We take it with us." The protests were immediate and vehement, but Sarah held up a hand to silence them. "I know the risks, but think about what this could mean. If we can rehabilitate this warhound, if we can work with it, it could change everything we thought we knew about the Zarkan and their creations." Her team exchanged uneasy glances, but years of working together had built a strong trust. Finally, Martinez nodded. "If you think this is the right call, Cap, we're with you." With great effort, they managed to load the sedated warhound onto their ship. As they lifted off, leaving the ruined world behind, Sarah couldn't help but feel they were embarking on a journey that would change the course of the war, and perhaps the future of human-alien relations. The journey back to Bastion, the human military's forward operating base, was tense. Every few minutes, someone would glance nervously at the sedated warhound, as if expecting it to suddenly wake and rampage through the ship. But it remained still, its massive chest rising and falling steadily. Sarah spent much of the flight in communication with Bastion, trying to prepare them for their unusual cargo. The reactions ranged from disbelief to outright anger, but Sarah stood her ground. By the time they began their approach to the base, she had managed to secure clearance for the warhound, albeit under heavy guard and strict containment protocols. As they touched down on Bastion's landing pad, Sarah saw a welcoming committee that was anything but welcoming. A full squad of heavily armed Marines surrounded the pad, while a stern-faced Colonel Evelyn Drake strode towards the ship, her expression thunderous. "Captain Chen," Drake barked as Sarah disembarked, "would you care to explain why you've brought an enemy weapon onto my base?" Sarah straightened, meeting the Colonel's gaze unflinchingly. "With respect, ma'am, I've brought a wounded sentient being for medical treatment and potential rehabilitation." Drake's eyes narrowed. "That sentient being is a killing machine bred by our enemies. It should have been neutralized on sight." "It was abandoned, Colonel," Sarah countered. "Left to die by the very beings who created it. It accepted our help. I believe there's more to these creatures than we've been led to believe." Before Drake could respond, a commotion from the ship drew their attention. The warhound was awake. Sarah's heart raced as she watched the creature being carefully unloaded. Despite its injuries, it moved with a fluid grace that belied its massive size. Its amber eyes scanned its surroundings warily before settling on Sarah. To everyone's amazement, the warhound let out a soft whine and tried to move towards her. "Stand down," Drake shouted as the Marines raised their weapons. Sarah quickly stepped between them and the warhound. "It's okay," she said, her voice calm despite the tension thrumming through her body. "It's not aggressive. Look." Indeed, the warhound made no move to attack. Instead, it simply stood there, its gaze fixed on Sarah with an intelligence that sent shivers down her spine. Colonel Drake watched the interaction with a mix of disbelief and grudging curiosity. "Finally," she sighed, "get that thing to the high-security medical bay. I want it under 24/7 guard. And Captain," she added, fixing Sarah with a stern look, "you're responsible for it. If anything goes wrong, it's on your head." As the warhound was led away, Sarah felt the weight of her decision settling on her shoulders. She had acted on instinct, on a belief that this creature was more than a simple weapon. Now she had to prove it, not just to Colonel Drake, but to all of humanity. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The warhound, which Sarah had started calling Rex in her head, though she kept that to herself, was subjected to a battery of tests and examinations. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the base's lead xenobiologist, was beside herself with excitement. "It's extraordinary," Yuki gushed as she showed Sarah the latest test results. "The genetic engineering is like nothing we've ever seen. Enhanced strength, accelerated healing, heightened senses. But look at this." She pointed to a brain scan. "The cognitive centers are highly developed. This creature isn't just smart, it's potentially sapient." Sarah felt a mix of vindication and awe. "So it can understand us?" Yuki nodded enthusiastically. "I believe so. It's been responding to simple commands, and its problem-solving abilities are off the charts. But there's something else." Her expression grew serious. "There are signs of extensive psychological conditioning. Whatever the Zarkon did to make these creatures loyal, it wasn't pleasant." The implications hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. Rex wasn't just a weapon, it was a victim. Can it be reversed? "I don't know," Yuki admitted. "But the fact that it bonded with you, that it's cooperating with us, I think there's hope." Encouraged, Sarah spent every spare moment with Rex. She talked to it constantly, explaining where it was, what was happening. Slowly but surely, Rex began to respond. A tilt of the head here, a soft whine there. Small gestures that nonetheless spoke volumes. It was on the 5th day that the breakthrough came. Sarah was sitting with Rex, reading aloud from a book, a habit she'd picked up, finding the act soothing for both of them, when Rex suddenly placed one of its massive paws on the page. Sarah froze, watching in amazement as Rex's claw gently tapped a word, then another, and another. "Friend, help, Sarah." "Oh my God," Sarah breathed. She looked up at Rex, seeing a new depth of understanding in those amber eyes. "You can read. You understand." Rex let out a soft rumble, almost like a purr, and gently bumped its head against Sarah's shoulder. Tears pricked at Sarah's eyes as the full impact of this moment washed over her. This wasn't just a trained animal or a biological weapon. This was a thinking, feeling being, one that had chosen to trust her, to communicate with her. Sarah's mind raced with the implications. If they could prove Rex's intelligence, its capacity for independent thought and decision-making, it could change everything. The ethical implications alone would be staggering. How could they continue to fight against beings that were, for all intents and purposes, people? But first, she had to convince the others. With a deep breath, Sarah stood. "Come on, Rex," she said, her voice filled with determination. "It's time to show everyone who you really are." As they walked out of the medical bay together, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to embark on a journey that would change the course of the war, and perhaps the very nature of humanity's place in the galaxy. The eyes of every soldier, scientist, and officer in the corridor were fixed on Sarah and Rex as they made their way to Colonel Drake's office. The Warhound moved with a quiet grace that belied its massive size, staying close to Sarah's side. Despite the obvious tension in the air, Rex remained calm, its intelligent gaze taking in everything around them. When they reached the Colonel's office, Sarah took a deep breath before knocking. "Enter," came Drake's curt response. As they stepped inside, Drake's eyes widened at the sight of Rex, unrestrained, and at Sarah's side. She half rose from her chair, hand moving towards her sidearm, but Sarah quickly held up a placating hand. "Colonel, please, I need you to see something." Drake's eyes narrowed, but she slowly sat back down, her posture tense. "This had better be good, Captain." Sarah nodded, then turned to Rex. "Okay, big guy, show her what you can do." To Drake's evident shock, Rex moved to her desk and with surprising delicacy used its claw to tap out a message on her datapad. "Not enemy. Want peace. Help humans." Drake stared at the message, then at Rex, her expression a mix of disbelief and dawning comprehension. It can communicate." Sarah nodded, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. "It's not just a weapon, Colonel. Rex is intelligent, sapient, and it wants to help us." For a long moment, Drake was silent, her gaze moving between Sarah, Rex, and the message on her datapad. Finally, she let out a long breath. "All right, Captain, you have my attention. Tell me everything." As Sarah explained their discoveries over the past few days, Drake listened intently, her initial skepticism gradually giving way to cautious interest. When Sarah finished, the Colonel leaned back in her chair, her brow furrowed in thought. "If what you're saying is true," Drake said slowly, "it could change everything. Not just our understanding of the Zarkan and their capabilities, but the very nature of this war." Sarah nodded eagerly. "Exactly. And if Rex can communicate with other warhounds, maybe we can end this conflict without further bloodshed." Drake's expression turned grave. "It's not that simple, Captain. Even if we accept that these beings are sapient, they've still been conditioned to fight for our enemies. The brass isn't going to just take your word that this one has switched sides." As if understanding the conversation, Rex let out a soft whine and moved closer to Sarah, its large form protective. Drake watched this interaction closely, her expression softening slightly. "But," she continued, "I can't deny the potential here. If we can prove that these warhounds can be reasoned with, that they can choose to ally with us, It could be the key to ending this war. Hope surged through Sarah. So you'll help us? Drake nodded slowly. I'll do what I can. But you need to understand the risks, Captain. If anything goes wrong, if that creature shows any sign of reverting to its original programming, I won't hesitate to put it down. Are we clear? Sarah swallowed hard but nodded. Understood, Colonel. As they left Drake's office, Sarah felt a mix of elation and trepidation. They had cleared the first hurdle, but the real challenges were just beginning. She looked up at Rex, who met her gaze with those intelligent amber eyes. Well, buddy, she said softly, reaching up to scratch behind its ear, looks like we've got our work cut out for us. Rex rumbled softly in response, and Sarah couldn't help but smile. Whatever came next, they would face it together. And maybe, just maybe, they could change the course of this war and the future of human-alien relations for the better. As they walked back to the medical bay, Sarah's mind was already racing with plans. They needed to prove Rex's intelligence and loyalty beyond any doubt. And more than that, they needed to find a way to communicate with other war hounds. If they could do that, if they could show that these beings were more than just weapons, it could change everything. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger and opposition. But as Sarah felt Rex's solid presence beside her, she knew that they had already accomplished the impossible once. With determination, compassion, and a little bit of luck, they could do it again. The future of two species, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. And it all started with a simple act of kindness on a war-torn world, proving once again that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons or technology, but in its capacity for empathy and its willingness to see beyond appearances to the beings underneath. As they reached the medical bay, Sarah turned to Rex with a smile. Ready for our next big adventure? Rex's tail swished in what Sarah had come to recognize as excitement, and it let out a soft, affirmative bark. Together, human and alien, rescuer and rescued, they stepped forward into an uncertain but hopeful future. The cosmic crucible. The days following Rex's introduction to Colonel Drake were a whirlwind of activity. Bastion buzzed with a mix of excitement and apprehension as news of the intelligent alien warhounds spread. Sarah found herself at the center of it all, juggling her regular duties with the monumental task of proving Rex's worth to the skeptical military brass. Quantum empathy training. Day 1. Sarah spoke into her recorder, her voice echoing in the cavernous training arena. Rex stood beside her, alert and ready. Today, we begin the experimental program to enhance Rex's already impressive cognitive abilities and establish a deeper psychic link between human and warhound. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity, approached with a device that looked like a cross between a crown and a high-tech helmet. This is the neurosync amplifier, she explained. It should allow us to communicate with Rex on a level beyond mere words. As Yuki carefully placed the device on Rex's head, Sarah couldn't help but feel a twinge of anxiety. This was uncharted territory, blending cutting-edge human technology with alien biology. But the potential benefits were too great to ignore. Initiating quantum empathy link in 3, 2, 1. Yuki's voice was tense with anticipation as she activated the device. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, Sarah gasped as a flood of sensations washed over her. She could feel Rex's presence in her mind, a swirling kaleidoscope of emotions and instincts. It was overwhelming, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. Cosmic synergy achieved, Yuki whispered in awe, monitoring the readings on her tablet. Sarah, can you hear me? Sarah nodded, unable to speak as she navigated this new mental landscape. Through Rex's eyes, she saw the world in vivid detail, scents and sounds painting a rich tapestry of information. She felt Rex's unwavering loyalty, his fierce protectiveness, and underneath it all, a deep well of intelligence that surpassed anything she had imagined. Rex, Sarah thought, projecting her words through the mental link. Can you understand me? The response came not in words, but in a rush of images and emotions. Sarah saw flashes of their first meeting, felt Rex's initial fear giving way to trust and hope. She saw herself through Rex's eyes, a beacon of compassion in a world that had shown him only cruelty. By the stars, Sarah breathed, tears streaming down her face. It's working. We're communicating on a whole new level. As the initial shock wore off, Sarah and Rex began to explore their new connection. Through the quantum empathy link, they could share thoughts and memories with incredible clarity. Sarah learned of Rex's creation in the Zarkan laboratories, the brutal training he had endured, and the moment he had decided to break free from his conditioning. In turn, Sarah shared her own memories, her childhood on Earth, her decision to join the military, and her dreams of a peaceful galaxy. Rex absorbed it all with keen interest, his understanding of humanity growing with each shared experience. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. As they delved deeper into the quantum empathy training, they encountered unexpected challenges. Sometimes, the flood of alien thoughts and emotions would become too intense, leaving Sarah disoriented and Rex agitated. They had to learn to balance their connection, to maintain their individual identities while forging this unprecedented bond. Cosmic Crucible simulation initiating, the AI announced, its voice echoing through the training arena. This was the true test of their newfound abilities, a holographic recreation of a Zarkan battlefield. As the simulation sprang to life around them, Sarah and Rex moved as one. Through their mental link, they coordinated their actions with seamless precision. Rex's raw power and combat instincts, tempered by Sarah's strategic thinking and ethical constraints, made them an unstoppable team. They weaved through the chaos of battle, disabling enemy combatants without lethal force, protecting civilians, and sabotaging war machinery. It was a dance of minds and bodies, a harmony of human and alien that left the observing officers speechless. When the simulation ended, Colonel Drake approached, her expression a mix of awe and cautious optimism. "Impressive," she admitted. "But how do we know this isn't just an elaborate trick? How can we trust that this connection won't be used against us?" Sarah was about to respond when she felt a gentle nudge in her mind. Rex wanted to answer for himself. Taking a deep breath, Sarah opened her mind fully, allowing Rex to speak through her. Trust built on shared pain and hope. Rex's thoughts flowed through Sarah's voice, the words carrying an alien cadence. "Zarkan betrayed us, bred for war but capable of choice. Humans showed kindness, offered new path. We choose peace, choose to protect. Together, we can end conflict, build bridge between species." The room fell silent as the implications of Rex's words sank in. It was one thing to believe that the war hound was intelligent, but to hear it speak of choice, of peace, of building bridges, it changed everything. Colonel Drake was the first to recover. "Well," she said, a hint of a smile tugging at her lips, "it seems we have a lot to discuss with High Command." As the officers filed out, already arguing about the potential ramifications of this development, Sarah felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her. The quantum empathy link, while incredible, took a toll on both her and Rex. "Rest now," Rex's thoughts whispered in her mind. "Tomorrow, we change galaxy." Sarah smiled, reaching up to scratch behind Rex's ear. "You're right, buddy. We've got a long road ahead of us, but together, I think we might just have a shot at ending this war." As they left the training arena, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. They had taken the first steps on an unprecedented journey, bridging the gap between two species that had only known conflict. It wouldn't be easy. There would be opposition, setbacks, and dangers they couldn't yet imagine. But with the power of quantum empathy and the unbreakable bond between a human and her alien companion, anything seemed possible. The stars beckoned, holding the promise of a future where understanding transcended the boundaries of species and worlds. Sarah and Rex were ready to face that future, one thought, one step, one quantum leap at a time. Galactic Harmony Initiative. The news of Sarah and Rex's unprecedented quantum empathy links spread through the human military ranks like wildfire. What had started as a controversial rescue mission had evolved into a potential game-changer in the war against the Zarkhan. High Command, intrigued by the possibilities, greenlit a bold new program, the Galactic Harmony Initiative. "Welcome to Operation Stardust," Admiral Zephyr announced, her holographic form flickering slightly in the briefing room. Her eyes, a striking violet-tinted G-modding, scanned the assembled team. "You've been chosen for a mission that could redefine the very nature of this conflict." Sarah stood at attention, Rex a reassuring presence by her side. Around them were a dozen other human war-hound pairs, each connected through the refined neurosync technology. They were a sight to behold, the best and brightest of humanity standing alongside the most formidable creations of the Zarkhan, united in purpose. "Your objective," the Admiral continued, "is to infiltrate the Zarkhan megastructure known as the Nexus Citadel. Intelligence suggests it's not just a military installation, but the epicenter of their warhound breeding program." Murmurs rippled through the room. The Nexus Citadel was legendary, a space station of immense proportions that had never been successfully breached. "But here's the kicker," Zephyr's lips curled into a smile. "We're not going in guns blazing. Your mission is to establish contact with the warhounds there and, if possible, initiate a mass defection." The room erupted in a cacophony of voices. It was an audacious plan, bordering on the insane. But as Sarah looked around, she saw determination in the eyes of both humans and warhounds. They had all witnessed the power of the bond they now shared. If it could be replicated on a large scale. Cosmic Chorus Protocol engaged, the ship's AI announced as their stealth cruiser, the Harmonic Voyager, dropped out of hyperdrive near the Nexus Citadel. The massive structure loomed before them, a twisted spire of alien metal that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Sarah felt Rex's anxiety through their link. This was where he had been created, where countless others like him still served to Zarkhan. "Less than we can do this," greater than she thought, sending waves of reassurance through their connection. "Less than together, we'll show them a better way greater than." As they approached in stealth pods, the team's neurosync devices hummed to life, extending their psychic reach. Sarah gasped as she felt the minds of thousands of warhounds, a vast sea of consciousness that threatened to overwhelm her. "Less than focus," greater than Rex's thoughts steadied her. "Less than find the song within the chase," greater than Sarah understood. Using techniques they had practiced, she began to project feelings of peace, of freedom, of the bond she shared with Rex. Around her, the other human warhound pairs did the same, their mental energies combining into a harmonious chorus that echoed through the psychic plane. Alarms blared within the Citadel as the Zarkhan realized something was amiss. But it was too late. The seed had been planted, a spark of rebellion ignited in the minds of the warhounds. Initiating Phase 2, Quantum Resonance, Captain Lyra, their tech expert, announced. She activated a device that amplified their psychic broadcast, reaching every corner of the Nexus Citadel. The effect was immediate and staggering. Warhounds throughout the station began to turn on their Zarkhan masters, not with violence, but with a firm refusal to obey. The aliens, accustomed to unquestioning loyalty from their creations, were thrown into disarray. As chaos erupted within the Citadel, Sarah and Rex led their team inside. They moved swiftly through the twisting corridors, their enhanced abilities allowing them to overcome any resistance with non-lethal efficiency. They soon reached the central chamber, where the eldest and most powerful of the warhounds were kept. These were the progenitors, the original templates from which all others were cloned. Their minds were like stars in the psychic landscape, ancient and potent. Less than brothers, sisters, greater than Rex projected, his mental voice resonating with authority. "Less than we offer you a choice. Freedom, purpose beyond war. A chance to heal the rifts between our kinds greater than." For a moment, there was silence. Then, like a dam breaking, the progenitors' minds opened, flooding the psychic link with centuries of accumulated knowledge and wisdom. It was overwhelming, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. As the last of the Zarkan resistance crumbled, Sarah found herself standing before the Citadel's main control panel. With trembling hands, she activated the station-wide communications system. "Attention all beings within the Nexus Citadel," her voice echoed through every chamber and corridor. "The age of conflict between our species is over. Today, we stand on the brink of a new era, one of cooperation, understanding, and galactic harmony." As she spoke, she felt the minds of thousands of war hounds and even some Zarkan joining the cosmic chorus. It was a symphony of consciousness, a blend of alien and human thoughts united in a shared vision of peace. The Galactic Harmony Initiative had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. In a single breathtaking moment, the tide of the war had turned not through force of arms, but through the power of empathy and choice. As the harmonic Voyager docked with the Nexus Citadel, now under the control of the liberated war hounds, Sarah turned to Rex. His amber eyes shimmered with emotion. "Less than we did it, greater than she thought," a tear sliding down her cheek. "Less than no greater than," Rex corrected gently. "Less than we've only just begun," greater than, Sarah nodded, understanding the truth of his words. They had won a great victory, but the real challenge lay ahead, building a lasting peace between species that had known only war, fostering understanding across the gulf of alien minds. As they stepped onto the deck of the Citadel, now a symbol of unity rather than oppression, Sarah felt a sense of limitless possibility. The stars seemed to shine brighter, beckoning them towards a future where the boundaries between species blurred, where the combined potential of humanity and their former enemies could reshape the galaxy. The cosmic chorus swelled around them, a promise of harmony echoing across the stars. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, not as human and warhound, not as separate species, but as pioneers of a new galactic civilization. The true adventure, they realized, was just beginning. Nebula Nexus Revolution. The success of the Galactic Harmony Initiative sent shockwaves through both human and Zarkan space. As news spread of the unprecedented alliance between humans and liberated warhounds, the very foundations of the conflict began to crumble. But with great change comes great resistance, and not everyone was ready to embrace this new paradigm. Quantum Diplomacy Summit, Day 1. Sarah's voice echoed through the grand hall of the repurposed Nexus Citadel, now renamed Haven's Spire. Representatives from Earth, the Zarkan Empire, and the newly formed Warhound Collective have gathered to negotiate a lasting peace. The atmosphere was tense, crackling with the potential for both miraculous breakthrough and catastrophic failure. Sarah stood at the center of it all, Rex by her side, their minds linked through the now-perfected neurosync technology. "Less than be cautious," greater than Rex's thoughts whispered in her mind. "Less than old hatreds run deep," greater than Sarah nodded imperceptibly. She could feel the swirling emotions in the room: hope, fear, anger, curiosity. It was a powder keg waiting for a spark. "Esteemed delegates," she began, her voice amplified by the cosmic chorus technology that allowed instantaneous translation across all languages and thought patterns. "We stand at a crossroads of galactic history. The choices we make here will echo through the cosmos for generations to come." As she spoke, holographic displays sprang to life around the room, showing the devastating toll of the war: worlds reduced to ash, civilizations shattered, countless lives lost on both sides. But interspersed with these grim images were scenes of hope. Humans and warhounds working together to rebuild, Zarkan scientists collaborating with their former enemies to heal the scars of battle. "The Nebula Nexus Revolution is upon us," Sarah continued, her words resonating on both verbal and psychic levels. "We have the opportunity to forge a new kind of civilization, one that transcends the boundaries of species and embraces the infinite diversity of cosmic life." As she spoke, Rex stepped forward, his massive form commanding respect. Through their link, he began to share his memories: the pain of creation in Zarkan labs, the brutal conditioning, but also the moment of awakening, the realization of choice, and the joy of true partnership with Sarah. The room fell silent, alien and human minds alike captivated by the raw emotion and truth of Rex's experiences. It was a powerful testament to the potential for change, for growth, for understanding across the gulf of species. But just as it seemed progress was being made, alarms blared throughout Haven's spire. Unidentified vessels approaching. The A's voice cut through the tension. Energy signatures matched neither human nor Zarkan designs. Panic began to spread through the delegates, but Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. Everyone, remain calm. We have protocols in place for this. Less than Rex, initiate Starweave defense, greater than Sarah thought, her mind linking with the Hounds. As one, Sarah and Rex moved to the central control hub. Their minds merged in perfect synchronicity, tapping into the vast network of psychic energy that now permeated Haven's spire. Through the cosmic chorus, they reached out to every Hound and human on the station, creating a unified field of consciousness. Activating Nebula Nexus Shield, Sarah announced, her voice overlaid with the harmonic tones of the collective psychic link. Outside the station, the approaching ships watched in awe as Haven's spire began to glow with ethereal energy. Tendrils of psionic force wove together, creating an impenetrable barrier that rippled with the combined power of thousands of minds. The unknown vessels halted their approach, clearly taken aback by this display of unified strength. Then, to everyone's surprise, a transmission cut through the tense silence. "Greetings, children of the starlit realms," a melodious voice echoed through the communication channels. "We are the Aetheri, watchers of the cosmic tides. We have observed your conflict from afar, waiting for the moment when you might be ready to join the greater galactic community." Sarah and Rex exchanged a startled glance. The Aetheri were thought to be nothing more than a legend, an ancient race said to guide the evolution of younger species from the shadows. "Your Nebula Nexus revolution has not gone unnoticed," the Aetheri spokesperson continued. "The union of minds and species you have achieved is a rare and precious thing. We come not as conquerors or judges, but as allies and teachers, should you wish to accept our guidance." The revelation sent ripples of excitement and apprehension through the assembled delegates. The arrival of the Aetheri changed everything, expanding the scope of their negotiations from a local conflict to a matter of galactic importance. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of this moment in history. Through her link with Rex, she drew strength and clarity. "On behalf of all those gathered here," she said, her voice steady and clear, "we welcome the Aetheri and humbly accept your offer of guidance. The Nebula Nexus revolution is bigger than any one species or conflict. Together, we stand ready to take our place among the stars." As the Aetheri ship stopped with Haven's spire, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and anticipation. They had started this journey as enemies, became reluctant allies, and now stood on the brink of joining a greater galactic civilization. Less than the true test begins now, greater than Rex's thoughts resonated in her mind. Less than are we ready for what comes next, greater than Sarah smiled, reaching out to scratch behind Rex's ear in a gesture that had become so familiar. Less than ready or not, we'll face it together. Human, Hound, Zarkan, Aetheri, we're all part of the cosmic tapestry now greater than. As the doors opened to reveal the ethereal forms of the Aetheri delegates, Sarah and Rex stepped forward, united in purpose and spirit. The Nebula Nexus revolution was entering its next phase, promising challenges and wonders beyond imagination. The stars seemed to pulse with newfound energy, as if the very fabric of the cosmos was celebrating this moment of unity and potential. Whatever the future held, they would face it not as separate species, but as a harmonious chorus of galactic life, their song echoing through the infinite expanse of space and time. Cosmic Convergence Odyssey. The arrival of the Aetheri marked the dawn of a new era for the fledgling alliance of humans, Hounds, and Zarkan. As the ethereal beings shared their vast knowledge and advanced technology, the Nebula Nexus revolution evolved into something far greater, the Cosmic Convergence Odyssey. Initiating hyperdimensional synthesis, Sarah's voice echoed through the transformed Haven's spire, now a gleaming beacon of interstellar cooperation, preparing for first contact with the quantum collective. Rex stood beside her, his form shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, a gift from the Aetheri to enhance the Warhound's natural abilities. Less than the multiverse awaits, greater than his thoughts resonated through their neural link, tinged with excitement and a hint of apprehension. Around them, a diverse crew of humans, Warhounds, Zarkan, and even a few Aetheri worked in perfect harmony. The bridge of their new ship, the Starwaver Infinity, was a marvel of design that blended organic technology with advanced AI and psionic interfaces. Cosmic Convergence Drive Online, reported Zara, a young Zarkan prodigy whose brilliance had been instrumental in reverse engineering Aetheri tech. Quantum entanglement stabilized. We're ready to make the jump, Captain. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of this moment. They were about to attempt something never before achieved, travel between parallel universes. The quantum collective, a hypothetical network of alternate realities, had long been theorized but never confirmed. Until now. Engage cosmic convergence in 3, 2, 1. The Starwaver Infinity shuddered as reality itself seemed to warp around them. Through the viewscreen, Sarah watched in awe as the familiar stars stretched into streaks of light, then shattered into a kaleidoscope of impossible colors. For a moment that felt like eternity, they existed everywhere and nowhere. Their consciousness expanded beyond the confines of a single universe. Sarah felt Rex's mind anchoring her, keeping her from losing herself in the infinite possibilities swirling around them. Then, with a flash of radiant energy, they emerged into somewhere else. By the celestial spheres, breathed Dr. Lyra, their xenobiologist. It worked. We've done it. Before them stretched a vista that defied comprehension. Planets orbited multiple suns of varying colors, some so close they seemed to dance around each other. Massive structures that dwarfed even Haven's spire floated in the void, pulsing with energy. And there, approaching their ship, was a fleet of vessels unlike anything they had ever seen. They seemed to phase in and out of reality, leaving trails of quantum probability in their wake. Incoming transmission, Zara announced, her voice filled with wonder. It's using a form of communication I've never seen before, multidimensional quantum encoding. Sarah nodded to Rex, and together they activated their enhanced neurosync link. Through the power of the cosmic chorus, amplified by Aetheri technology, they reached out to interpret the alien signal. Images and concepts flooded their joined minds. The quantum collective was not just a parallel universe, but a civilization that existed across multiple realities simultaneously. They had been watching, waiting for a species to achieve the cosmic convergence and join them in their multiversal network. Greetings, Starwavers. The message finally resolved into something they could understand. Welcome to the nexus of all realities. Your journey here marks the beginning of your ascension. As the import of these words sank in, Sarah felt a mix of exhilaration and humility. They had come so far, from a bitter war between species to the threshold of a multiversal civilization. Yet she knew this was just the beginning. Thank you, Sarah replied. Her words carried on waves of psionic energy. We come seeking knowledge, understanding, and peaceful cooperation between all sentient beings, across all realities. There was a pause, and Sarah felt a sense of approval emanating from the quantum collective ships. Your intentions are noble, young ones. But the path of cosmic convergence is not without its trials. Are you prepared to face the chaos vortex? To navigate the labyrinth of infinite probabilities? To confront the very nature of existence itself? Sarah looked around at her crew, human, Warhound, Zarkan, and Aetheri alike. She saw determination in their eyes, a shared resolve to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Less than together, greater than Rex's thought echoed in her mind, a sentiment shared by all through the cosmic chorus. Less than we face it all together, greater than with a smile, Sarah turned back to the communication panel. We are ready. The cosmic convergence odyssey has brought us this far. Whatever trials await, we will face them as one. As if in response to her words, a massive portal began to form in space before them. Through it, Sarah could see glimpses of wonders and terrors beyond imagination, entire galaxies being born and dying in the blink of an eye, civilizations rising and falling across countless timelines, the very fabric of reality twisting into impossible shapes. Then let the true journey begin, the Quantum Collective announced. Enter the nexus of all realities and take your place among the infinite tapestry of existence. With a shared thought through the cosmic chorus, the crew of the Starweaver Infinity made their decision. As one, they guided their ship towards a swirling portal, ready to embrace their destiny as pioneers of the multiverse. As they crossed the threshold, Sarah felt a profound sense of transformation. They were no longer merely human or warhound, or Zarkan, or even Aetheri. They were becoming something new, something greater, true children of the cosmos, unfettered by the limitations of a single reality. The Starweaver Infinity disappeared into the portal, leaving behind the universe of their birth. But this was not an end. It was a beginning, the start of an adventure that would span countless realities, challenge the very foundations of existence, and perhaps in time, unlock the ultimate secrets of the multiverse itself. The cosmic convergence odyssey had truly begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of life, consciousness, and the infinite possibilities of creation.